Oh, hey, Robert.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm alright. Little bummed about Stan Lee, though.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I guess I can play the Sad Hulk song in his honor.
Well, that's really, really nice. It's really, really sad, though, too. Maybe we can get something a little bit more celebratory for the Stan the Man Lee.
Upbeat surf rock version of the Spider-Man theme from the 60s? You got it!
Okay, that's more like it. Despite the fact that you didn't record the rollicking lyrics by Paul Francis Webster, you degenerate. How dare you? You disgust me. But anyway, welcome to episode 32 of Bonus Features with Alex and Robert. I'm Robert.
And I'm not Robert.
All right. Well, as we mentioned, it was a rough week this week, or, well, for the past few weeks.
Ago.
We lost a great visionary in Stan Lee, but we'll talk about that later, I suppose. On to the pointless interlude of sports.
So the Bears are looking pretty good, despite the fact that Mitchie is out right now.
He is. Our pretty boy assassin is, he's been on the bench.
Honestly, though, if you take away running, like his option running, these quarterbacks seem relatively comparable in skill.
Yeah, Chase Daniel has definitely been a guy that's, well, he's worked with Matt Nagy for a long time, and the kind of scheme that he's been running for almost the entirety of Matt Nagy's career. So I'm fairly confident with him, and he was also doing that kind of off of a short short practice time. So I'm excited to see him like with a full week of actually like anticipating to quarterback on the Sunday's game.
Yeah, I would imagine by the time this comes out, I'm making a bold prediction here that we will defeat our foes this Sunday.
That would make a 6-game winning streak.
Would it now?
It sure would. They haven't lost since our last episode, since recording.
Yeah, that's true.
That would be an immense deal.
Who are they playing? The Giants, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna kill them. The Giants suck.
Well, I mean,
at least.
Well, they got a really bad O-line, and Eli's Eli. He's gonna do stupid things every now and then, but he's still okay.
He's just wildly inconsistent. You never know.
The big boon on their offense that they got is Saquon Barkley.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that scares me a little bit because we're really good at stopping the run. But last I checked, Akeem Hicks was like semi-injured. Like he was injured like with an Achilles, but some people said that might have been veteran. Like they just put that on put him on IR just so he could sit out for practices because he's the fucking boss.
Right. And then the Bulls and the Blackhawks are not doing so well. So now we move on to the news section. Hey, I think we actually made this only 2 minutes.
That's one of the benefits of having a Chicago sports suck ass.
All right, but now we shall linger no more on sports. We start with the news of the Detective Pikachu trailer. So initially, I had 100% doubts on this. Just hearing the project made no sense. The fact that there was a game about this, I also found very confusing because there's a difference between, to me, hey, let's do a different take on blank. And let's arbitrarily throw blank with blank. And to me, I just don't understand the idea of Pokemon, which is basically, here are these funny little pets and monsters that fight each other. Mm-hmm. And now one's a detective.
Yeah.
So this trailer, my initial reaction was basically that same thing I just said. And It essentially made me say, why didn't they just make a regular Pokemon movie instead of this detective bullshit?
That's kind of what I'm totally on page with you there. That was my whole sentiment, because there was a huge bidding war over Pokemon, the live action rights to Pokemon a while ago.
Yeah.
It eventually went to Warner Brothers and Legendary Pictures, and like a couple weeks or maybe a month or a little bit after that, they announced, like, all right, we finally got the Pokemon rights. Now we're going to do the Detective Pikachu movie in live action. I was like, what? Like, that was what you spent so much time and, like, all these resources for, to do this? I was kind of blown away by it, because I'm like, a standard live action version of the anime would have killed. But I guess I give them credit for, like, taking a big swing. It's like, yeah, let's open with this. It's like, you got some balls on you.
Yeah, but this goes back to what I was saying. There's taking a swing, and then there's taking a swing that just seems so, like, random and weird.
Yeah, it's definitely that.
Not in the Big Trouble in Little China way.
Right. It is, and I was on that, it's weird. I was on kind of the naysaying stance for the longest time, and I still am. Part of me is.
Oh, I'm definitely still on the naysayer stance.
It's just, it's weird. Like, I saw the trailer, and I was like, yeah, this looks very weird, but it's the first live action Pokemon movie. It's like, I gotta see it. I have to see it.
And then there's that whole thing about, what's it? The kid's the only one who understands Pikachu.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. From what I understand, it's like the game is pretty much, from what we see in the trailer, it's pretty damn close to what the game is. But I haven't played the game.
I haven't played the game either. It just kind of seemed like Pokemon Snapshot or something. Like, not necessarily a bad game. It's just, I'm just there for the gym battles, man, and the monster fights, and maybe cutting some grass and whatnot, or surfing, or digging. That was another one. Sometimes you had to dig to get to the next place.
Yes. Quick note: it's Pokemon Snap.
You know what I did? A 55-year-old confused dad at it. But it's just like the game where you take the Pokemon snapshots.
What's it called? Polaroid Man?
Yeah. Well, anyway, moving on. Sony says they will not be at 2019's E3.
Yeah, that's, we've been talking a bit, and we've been ragging a bit on Sony in the past few weeks because of certain things involving the PlayStation Classic and certain games that are not on the PlayStation Classic and all that.
Parappa the Rapper, that was one we forgot, man.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But anyway, this is interesting. This is the first time PlayStation is going to skip E3 in the entirety of E3's 24-year history. Not only that, we also have news that Sony's PlayStation Experience Conference, which is kind of just its in-house like conference of its own, they're not even holding that this year because they cited, they don't have that many games to show. I don't know what to make of this. It's not very good things. It's very not scary, but like as a consumer, you like to see products showcased for the coming year.
I just think that's so weird when gigantic companies skip out on events that are supposed to sort of be like, that sort of encompass that industry in general. Mm-hmm. Like E3, that's basically an encapsulation of video games,
right?
And what's out there. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of similar to when Marvel doesn't show up to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Sort of weird.
D23 and all that mess.
Yes, that's what I thought this was at first. I guess I had misread it. I had thought originally that they were doing the PSX or whatever it's called instead of E3. Mm-hmm. But now that they're not even doing that, it's just extra baffling.
And that would have made sense because it certainly, that decision would have kind of fell in line with the theme of a lot of corporations this year, which is they're kind of breaking away from like the communal spaces, the conventions, TV. Like everyone's got their own thing now.
Everyone's got their own streaming service.
Every corporation is becoming its own island that you have to, it's very exclusive now. But this is just like, Sony's kind of just Charles Foster Kaning itself from the rest of the world. It's just like, nah, we're going to just wait until the games come out and you'll know when they come out.
I mean, unless they just really have that few games coming out next year, is it what's their schedule like? It's not super jam packed, is it?
No, not as of right now. I mean, they got like Kingdom Hearts 3 and like Anthem is coming out and the Last of Us sequel, but right now it's kind of there's a lot of stuff still up in the air.
Even still, it's kind of weird that they wouldn't be there in any capacity.
Yeah, it's almost like ever since the Sony hack, they just don't trust us anymore.
Well, when you bring that into play, I guess I don't blame them. It's like, guys, this is one more place where like spies could steal our data.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just not.
It's like, guys, don't you understand who's going to show up at this conference? People. Fuck people. People suck.
Anyway, so that does it for that. Up next, there's a Kingsman prequel. It's supposed to start filming in January. Matthew Vaughn is directing again.
Yes, and this is in addition to Kingsman 3, right?
I think so. I think there's a TV show too.
Dear God.
They're really trying to expand this property. And, I mean, okay, I didn't like 2, so for me that's like, I could go either way. Because it's like, who's to say 3 wouldn't maybe be better, but more than likely not. But the fact that they had a good one to start, that's at least better than, trying to polish a turd as many franchises try to do.
Yeah, I agree. It would be, for me, it would be a bit different if, like, 2 was a massive, massive disaster, like, dog shit movie. It's not. I don't like it that much.
It's not
but
good.
It's not very good. But 1 is like, pretty damn good. So if you average out the 2, it's like, I guess my excitement for 3 is like, okay, like, I'm hopeful, but I don't know. I don't know anything about what this is going to be about. They're saying that the prequel, in addition to 3, it's like the prequel's going to be about like the history of the Kingsman organization, like through the organization's eyes. I don't know what the fuck that means. Ralph Fiennes might be in it.
They're just trying to say things that make it sound different, even though it's going to be probably similar to the other 2.
Well, you know what's weird is like Matthew Vaughn, like I guess he described it as a period drama. Which I'm like,
Whatever.
What are you talking about?
That's probably the same way X-Men First Class is a period drama.
Yeah. That is an interesting turn of events. But I guess it's full steam ahead for Kingsman with Fox?
Yeah, well, I guess by the time they start production, wouldn't it technically be a Disney property at that point?
I guess so. That is
Which
weird.
means they're never going to let it die.
God damn it. Well, we'll be seeing you at the Kingsman TV show when it debuts on Disney Plus.
Yeah, or wherever it debuts.
Oh boy.
Anyway, moving on to our next story. Margot Robbie's production company is going to be producing an adaptation of the novel Barbed Wire Heart. It centers around a family of meth dealers in Northern California, and it is also one of the worst books I've ever read.
Moving on. We have our first look at the Leprechaun Returns trailer. This is the 7th iteration of the...
Hold on, let me count. Okay, so it's...
not iteration, installment, I guess.
Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, Space, Hood, Back to the Hood, Origins, although that one, like, kind of doesn't count, because it was so low budget. Or, fuck it, yeah, I guess that counts, so that's 6 and 7, yes.
So this is 8th then?
This is 8th.
Okay, so this is the 8th installment in the Leprechaun franchise. It's directed by Steven Kostanski. It has a new actor playing the role of Lubdan. His name is...
Is that what his name is?
Well, they never really say it, but
Oh.
it's Lubdan the Leprechaun.
Oh.
Lyndon Porco from Channel Zero. He stars as the Leprechaun this time around.
I don't know if I like that. I like me some Warwick Davis in the Leprechaun role.
Yeah, or at least Hornswoggle.
Nah, just Warwick Davis.
Yeah, I mean, he was the OG, dude.
That guy made those movies watchable. Like, honestly, if you had anyone else playing Leprechaun, like all the so good it's bad would disappear to it's so bad it's bad.
Right. Yeah, this trailer looks so dumb.
Yeah. Okay, speaking of dumb, I just want to point something out. See, you dinged me for, missing snapshot and snap. Mm-hmm. Well, here's my annoying anal complaint of the day. So they're like, leprechauns haunting the sorority of Alpha Upsilon. And they have the A, capital Alpha in the Greek alphabet. And they have a capital U. That is not what a fucking uppercase Upsilon looks like.
Looks like a Y, right?
Yeah, it looks more like a Y, sorta. And it's like, you guys, come on. You make movies for a living. You didn't have someone just like quickly go like Google search the images. Hey guys, what does a capital Upsilon look like?
Do your research, man.
I don't get that. Like, I know that's a small complaint, but is it? It's like that story. I don't know if it's true about Van Halen asking for the brown M&Ms. The reason apparently they did that. Well, one, to be tricksters and jokesters and be rock and roll about it. But one, I heard the real reason people do that stuff is to see if people follow directions.
Yeah, to make sure if the venue was going to actually follow or read the fucking contract. Because, like, there was a lot of pyrotechnics in their show. So, like, they don't have someone fucking dying.
Right. So, it may be a small thing, but, I might be just, shouting in the wind. But, honestly, that just annoyed the shit out of me. It's like, you guys... You couldn't get one person to look this over.
Well, I will say this. Van Halen is... Well, Leprechaun Returns, Van Halen is not. What is an appropriate band comparison for Leprechaun 8? It's probably like Korn or something, right?
I get... What?
Well, you compared Van Halen to fucking Leprechaun Returns. I'm like, this movie sucks. Like, I feel like nobody cares about this who made this.
I think if we're going to go, like, so good it's bad, though, I'm going to go with a band like Venom.
Okay.
They're this old metal band, and it's like, it's kind of terrible, but it's kind of awesome at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
It's just very... Or it's not that the music's that bad. It's like the production's very raw.
Right.
I just get a kick out of it when I listen to it. And the lyrics are kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right. So this is, Venom 8.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Not to be confused with the eventual Venom 8.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Here we go.
Yeah. Can you believe that movie is at, what, over 800 million now? Unbelievable.
That's just nuts. I can't even believe that shit.
But, yeah, this Leprechaun thing...
Looks no bueno.
Yeah, it looks really not good. It looks like... I mean, this is going to sound so ridiculous. They look like they're just like, you know what? This isn't a horror at all anymore.
I mean, it doesn't even look fun bad.
Yeah.
It just looks like... Because, there's no Warwick Davis.
That's what I'm saying. I really think he was the difference maker. Is like... I don't know, man. It's like... It's kind of like trying to replace Brad Dourif.
Yeah, a little bit.
What kind of crazy person would do that?
Which they still haven't done yet. Who the hell is going to be Chucky?
You know what? There's only one appropriate answer where I'd be like, you know what? Fine.
What?
John Malkovich.
Oh, yeah, we mentioned that. Fucking, that would be it.
That's the only choice I'd go with. or Joey Diaz.
All right. Oh, man. You fucking bitch.
Hey, kid, I need your soul. Well, why, Chucky? Hey, cocksucker. I'm the one making the rules here.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So, that'll do it, I guess, for... This trailer doesn't look good, and it's just like, I would have given you maybe the out if you just made it lowercase. Mm-hmm. Except that doesn't... No, fuck that. They don't get an out.
Got in my knives.
Because the Upsilon does look like a U in the lowercase. Mm-hmm. But you don't have lowercase letters on, Greek life houses.
Right.
Or at least not generally.
Yeesh.
Anywho, it looks not very good.
No, and I probably will not be watching it within the terms of my own will. I'll probably maybe watch it against my will.
Hey, but you know what? And you will be able to watch it against your own will on December 11th. It'll be available on video on demand.
Great.
Yeah. You know what? I don't mind plugging it. It's one of those rare ones where I'm like, this looks bad, but I don't care. I'll plug it. Sure. Why not? Anyway, moving right along, would you like to read our next story, sir?
Well, Fret not, Criterion fans. The Criterion Collection streaming service is set to launch in spring of 2019. So through a special agreement with Warner Media, the Criterion Channel will launch as a freestanding streaming service. Additionally, the popular library of films will be a part of Warner Media's recently announced direct-to-consumer platform that is planned to launch in the fourth quarter of 2019. So this is kind of a follow-up to our...
So where are you reading that from?
Collider.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is essentially a... what is it? A follow-up to our... what was the story about? The Criterion Collection Filmstruck.
Filmstruck was going
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is... We said, hey, it might be not so bad, because, a lot of the movies on Criterion Collection are Filmstruck regulars. I mean, the Filmstruck was the host for Criterion Collection for a bit. But yeah, this is good news, I would say, and it's coming in the form of something that we have both kind of said we enjoy, which is a la carte streaming service styles. Well,
where you have an option, you can either get Filmstruck or get it as part of this Warner Media thing.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying, man. Verve,
they've got it.
They got it right. Mm-hmm. I feel like they don't get a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, no, and I what's weird? I just realized the other day?
What's that?
We mentioned that Verve would be great if they had something like Boomerang on it. Mm-hmm. They have Boomerang.
Do they?
On Verve.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I gotta get this Verve thing.
Yeah, it's pretty... It's looking more and more enticing the more I hear about it.
So for $10 a month, I could get... If I get the premium whatever, that means you get everything, right?
I think so, yeah. You get not Crunchyroll. Do they have Crunchyroll?
Yeah, that's one of their biggest ones.
Crunchyroll, Nixsplat, Boomerang, the K-drama show or a channel.
Well, man, you know me and my K-dramas.
Right.
I've never seen K-dramas. Are they any good?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
They definitely seemed fun.
Yeah.
People like them.
You know what? If it's included.
Yeah. I'll try it out.
Yeah. You know what? Why not?
Yeah, that's good news, and I'm glad that there are some streaming services going that direction, other than Verve.
Yeah, just waiting on one to be part of Warner Media, huh?
What's that?
Oh, DC.
Oh yeah, oh, God, that would make sense. Right?
I feel like it's weird though, because they mentioned this, and I've seen other people talking about like, oh, we got Nick Splat going here, we got this on this package. DC Universe so far, I haven't heard any rumblings about it.
No, in fact, I've heard very little things about DC Universe since it launched.
Yeah, I mean, I know that the Titans show, baffling as it may be, is pretty popular right now.
Yeah, it's doing okay.
Yeah, so I guess people who have the app are happy with it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just I'd like to see more figures.
Yeah, I'd like to see a couple more like new shows launch or new content things launch.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing is, I know that they are being smart about one thing though. They have it pretty much scheduled so that one episode of something is coming out every week. I think for the rest of either this year or next year.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Jeez.
So I guess that's a smart way to do it. I think it's just because it's so in its infancy and they have to build up so much more since a lot of it's going to be original content.
Yeah.
It's like we're going to have to wait to see some of those numbers to really get a grasp on how they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Ideally, though, yeah, I would like to see it be a part or be a component of the Warner Media thing, whatever it ends up being called.
Or just join Verve, because that's what the cool kids are doing.
It is. Well, I mean, they already got Boomerang, which is Turner, Time Warner own thing, right?
Turner. That's the thing. Verve's kind of, they kind of dip their hand in each pot, because you got Viacom with Nick Splat, and then you've got Turner / Warner Brothers with Boomerang.
Yeah.
So, the Filmstruck thing is happening, and Criterion Collection fans can be very happy to see their weird experimental films.
Yes.
And a few good ones.
A few.
Anyway, so that'll do it. We got our first look at Clint Howard as Mr. Baggy Britches in 3 from Hell. I was glad to see this image because I hadn't heard much, about this at all, really, in the last few months.
Right.
Been looking forward to this movie because I'm very curious to know how the hell they're going to do it.
How the 3 from Hell they're going to do it. Am I right?
Ha 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 ha.
You could almost say I'm a clown.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Man, wow. Anywho.
No, this looks interesting. And I was like you. I'm like, what the hell? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What the heck is going on the Rob Zombie front with this 3 from Hell movie? The Devil's Rejects sequel? Is it a sequel or a prequel?
That's what I'm still confused about. It's like, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they die in a hail of gunfire while the most awesome song of all time was playing?
Right.
You know, some Free Bird.
Of course. It's a very, very... It's going to be interesting to see how Rob Zombie ties this into that. I don't know if it'll be a sequel. It probably is.
Yeah.
Fuck it, who knows how.
I'm wondering if he's going to introduce supernatural shit in it. I don't know. You know what? Fuck it.
I think he might. I think it's possible.
Whatever. I guess there's no point in speculating too much on that. We'll just wait for a trailer.
But Clint Howard...
Yeah, let's get back to the
love the name.
matter at hand here.
Love Mr. Baggy Britches. And, I mean, we talked about the casting. Love the casting.
Yeah. He looks like the tramp version of a clown.
Yeah.
Mixed with Bozo's sidekick, Cookie.
Yeah, geez.
That's kind of the vibe I was getting.
He looks spooky, that's for sure.
Yeah, he looks pretty terrifying. I'd say the role kind of fits him like a glove.
Oh, yeah. He's got a very jovial personality.
Yeah, he's got a jovial personality that pretty much is like, we need someone to play a creepy clown, and he's your man.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
If not Tim Curry.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Good old Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Ginger Clown, perhaps.
No, wrong. I was talking about the Good Clown movie with him.
Oh, It.
It.
Yeah.
The original one, which I guess people are hating on. I still like it.
Yeah,
I'd have to rewatch it, though.
I definitely remember it scaring the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Oh, boy, did it ever.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, moving on from there, we got our first look at the sequel to Happy Death Day, entitled Happy Death Day to You. The trailer came out a little bit ago, but I guess it came out a lot of bit ago.
Yeah, actually, it was weird because you had said, hey, guess what? The new trailer's out. And then it played a trick on me because I started to watch it and I said, wait a minute, I've seen this trailer before. And then I was in some weird meta
Deja vu
loop thing. Deja vu loop about a movie about a deja vu loop.
Yeah.
And it turned out I had remembered it was played in front of Halloween.
Oh, yeah. I never ended up getting that trailer in front of my print of Halloween, but
yeah.
And I don't even think I heard about the trailer being in front of it. But
yeah.
Shit, I mean, I guess it was there. And
the trailer is there, and
it's a little different from this trailer.
Yeah, it is a little different. There's a couple minor spoiler-esque moments I kind of wish maybe they hadn't shown.
Yeah.
Overall, though, I'm pretty excited about this because you know what? It's like bring on sequels to things that are original. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this looks
I'm rooting for like a sequel to this and a sequel to John Wick.
Oh yeah.
As we got a sequel to John Wick, more than I am rooting for, Jurassic Park 9 or whatever.
Right. And yeah, I was impressed with the trailer. It looks like more of the same in a good way.
Yeah, but it looks like they're trying to add a little more of the sci-fi-ish elements.
Add a little bit more development as to like why things are going on. There's some weirdness in it, sciencey things. And
that was the thing, though, is you can do that in a sequel where you left things open.
Yeah. It's definitely it's got my interest. I'm interested in why what's going on is going on the way it's going on.
Yeah, and it looks like the other person is falling victim to the loop this time.
Yeah, is it the roommate?
Yeah, it's like her boyfriend's roommate.
Yeah, interesting. So there's enough intrigue there to get me in a seat.
Oh, I'm definitely there. I'm definitely down. And as I say, and I'll keep saying, remember, folks, it's not about doing redos or reboots. It's about doing derivative ripoffs. That way, if things are different than the quote-unquote original, it's because it's a different movie.
Agreed. All right, well, moving on to our next story. Oh, boy.
Yep, here we go.
The axe has fallen not just twice, but a third time.
Thrice,
if you will. Daredevil, after 3 seasons on Netflix, has been canceled.
This is a big one, but it's almost like I should have seen it coming, right?
You know what? I sort of did, but not in this way. I thought they would have at least canceled Jessica Jones first, and then canceled Daredevil, but Jessica Jones is still filming.
Ronnie James Dio, rest his soul. He would say that Jessica Jones is the last in line.
It's her and Punisher. Because Punisher's second season, I think, is just finishing filming or something like that.
That's so weird. Every time people mention the shows, I completely forget Punisher exists.
Right? Which is kind of unfortunate, considering
how good John Bernthal is at playing him.
Yeah, like that blows. But yeah, I guess the conception. There's a lot of hearsay going on right now, but I think the Hollywood Reporter noted, Deadline Hollywood said that, quote, unlike Iron Fist or Luke Cage, the door seems to be wide open for the series to continue elsewhere, potentially on Disney's streaming service, Disney+. But Hollywood Reporter conflicted with this, saying that they felt their sources said it was unlikely. So who knows what the hell's going on? The point is, this...
All right, I got it. I figured it out.
What's that?
Annoying speculation time, people.
Oh, God.
I know I don't like to speculate, but fuck it. I've got a theory here. Mm-hmm. So, Avengers 4, right? Oh my god, different universes, time loop and, plot holes and shit. Oh my god, we're gonna undo stuff, universes cracking. Because science and stuff, there's a new Daredevil. There's a new Iron Fist.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't... this is such a weird thing.
And then Deadpool's going to jump on screen and he's going to be like, hey guys, so we're gonna join you guys for a few adventures. Captain America's going to be like, huh? It's like, all right, see, this is very strange, but see, we're from a different studio. And Captain America's like, studio? Mm-hmm. And then it's just like Deadpool just explains away all the plot holes and like looks at the camera and just goes like... And I think that'll just about cover all the bases. I hope you guys are all satisfied. And Captain America's just like, who are you looking at?
I think it's, at this point,
Deadpool's breaking the fourth wall and such.
Oh, yeah. Him and his antics.
So basically, Deadpool's just going to explain away all the plot holes, and because science and alternate universes, mm-hmm. It's going to be like, things are different but the same. There's going to be some time travel, tinkering and such.
God damn it. We talked about the fractalization of media and corporations. This is potentially another, Another casualty of that.
So your theory is a little simpler than mine. You think that they might just continue all these shows on Plus?
I think it's possible Daredevil will. I'd be shocked if Iron Fist and Luke Cage did. I wouldn't be shocked, though, from what I've read, if Jessica Jones and Punisher were canceled almost immediately after they premiere on Netflix in the next year.
That kind of seems like that was... It seems like, well, we're already filming. Fuck it. We'll just finish making this season. Mm-hmm. Even though we're probably going to get canceled. And then Netflix is like, you know what? Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're just going to not promote it very much. Mm-hmm. And then it's going to get terrible ratings. And we're just going to cancel it, guys.
Yeah.
What can we do?
This is like, that's your Disney's flagship.
Yeah.
For the Netflix universe. It's like, it kind of reminded me of like when the news came out of like Henry Cavill not being Superman anymore. It's like, well, what the fuck now? Like, that's your guy. That's the person, that's the thing that started this.
Except in that case, Wonder Woman is still there. So it's like,
that's true.
But we do have her still.
Yeah, and like...
So she's one of the main three.
Right. But it's so weird. Like, I would have... And the order of it is weird. It's like Iron Fist got canceled first. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Luke Cage got canceled next. I'm like, all right. Then I'm like, naturally, if they were to cancel another show, it'd be Jessica Jones, right? No.
Yeah.
Daredevil
got the one.
The big one.
Yeah, this is... okay. As I said, it's kind of one of those mixed things, mm-hmm. whether or not it's expected or not.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all. At all. I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right with what Disney has in mind for their app. I mean, more content.
Yeah.
Maybe, well, think about it. You're Disney. You see that your show hasn't been doing well on Netflix. So you have a deal with Netflix where you obviously split the profits. You know, Netflix is allowed the rights to this thing, and you split the profits with them. Fuck that. I want to host the show on my own thing. I want to make our own profits, and we'll market it better because we're the fucking marketing kings right now.
Right.
So, like, why wouldn't you? If you're Disney, like, why wouldn't you pull out of Netflix and be like, fuck you guys? And, like, I'm not saying I like that, but business-wise, it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Well, I guess this is just one of those things. Disney Plus is going to... I think once it launches, we're going to have a lot more answers.
Yeah, and we'll have a lot more to say.
Well, also, while on that subject, you said there was some news involving Disney Plus and their Marvel shows.
Oh, yes. We officially have the title and some more details regarding the Scarlet Witch show. So the show is going to be called Vision and the Scarlet Witch, which, of course, means that Vision is going to be a primary character on this show, if not the main one, because he is titled first, weirdly enough.
I don't know, though, because even though he's titled first... You don't think it's going to be a split half and half kind of thing?
I think you're right, but it was weird that like people. Well, because she was named after him, you know.
Right, because they made the announcement that she was getting her own series, so I thought they were making it clear that it was about her.
Her, yeah.
I mean, I feel like an idiot. I should have figured Vision would be there, but I didn't know what kind of budget this show was going to go with.
Yeah, that's a whole nother issue, or that's a whole nother can of worms, because you got that, you got the Loki show, you've got the Falcon and Winter Soldier limited series, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and then you got all the Star Wars stuff, Mandalorian. This is I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if I like it.
Why not?
I just don't. I don't like, well, I mean, we mentioned it. It's like, I don't like the sort of exclusivity of media now. It's like, and it comes from TV too. You know, we talked about like, oh, have you watched Man in the High Castle? It's like, I can't fucking afford Amazon Prime in addition to Netflix and cable and like premium channels. Like, I just can't do it.
I feel like Disney Plus, I mean, I'll have to see what it has on the other things aside from Marvel, because it's one of those things where it's like, well, what about their other, you know, like what the hell are Disney's other like brands, like what the hell was it, like Miramax or whatever?
Oh, like Touchstone.
Yeah, Touchstone, and like what is it going to have from other movies and other TV shows?
That's interesting. So like you're saying that they could potentially take all of their like formerly Buena Vista owned properties and just slop them off of Netflix.
Can't they?
I think they could. Yeah. They could potentially do that.
I would imagine they're not going to do that with everything. But I don't know. It just seems like I'm just saying I want to see what they are going to do with those additional things.
Yeah. I'm definitely willing to hear them out, but I don't like the way things are going in terms of like the compartmentalization of all sort of media things into its own separate thing. You know, like it's good to have a communal space, like a TV or a theater where you can just go and pick. But now you have to like have the money to go onto a different platform and pick there from a smaller selection.
Aside from the money, it just seems like a pain in the ass to sign up for all these separate things.
Oh yeah, that's why like Comcast, it's like, hey, if you buy our package, you get these streaming services with it. It's like, yeah, of course I'm going to do that. That's just fucking easier. Yeah. Like this comes with, what does Comcast have? Like Netflix and Hulu, or no? Is it just Netflix?
I don't know. I know it has at least Netflix.
Yeah.
But even something like Netflix, which is obviously the biggest streaming service, I can understand people, you know, dishing out cash for that, because if you like TV, it has a lot of good shows.
If you like movies, there's a lot of movies on there that cycle out every month.
Yeah, exactly. You know? So it's like, even though their movie selection sometimes is kind of meh, I mean, you do get some cool stuff, obviously, and as you said, cycles out. So,
and there's always the DVD plan, you know, and that's not streaming, and it's not as easy, but it's there.
Yeah.
But this is just, I don't know. It's more of a wrench in the works.
Okay. So I was asking more how you felt about the show.
Oh, like a Daredevil show?
No, about the
the Scarlet Witch Vision show.
Yes.
Yeah, but fine with it. I mean, I'd have to wait and see for a trailer, I feel like, for a lot of these. Just because, like, do I think that Vision and Scarlet Witch and Loki and Captain Falcon, Jesus Christ.
Captain Falcon.
Yeah. Show your moves. Fucking Falcon and the Winter Soldier, do I think they have enough legs for their own shows? Hell yeah.
I think that the for sure bet for me, just because like that's my favorite section of the Avengers, the Shield people,
Right.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. That to me seems like a sure bet that I'll probably like that.
Mm-hmm. And it's a limited series too, they say.
Yeah.
So that could be, I'm not too far. I'm not down with miniseries,
Yeah.
as we said.
All right, so I think that whatever. So this is the streaming services are everywhere. There's a lot of them, and everything's getting separated.
And there's more and more every day.
Yeah, so that does it for news. Now we move on to the reviews. So, being that Thanksgiving has passed us just recently, we decided to watch a couple Thanksgiving movies, starting with the animated classic film We're Back. And before you
classic.
say, that's not a Thanksgiving movie, clearly you don't remember the part where the dinosaurs go in the Macy's parade, so it is a Thanksgiving movie.
Come on, guys. It takes place over Thanksgiving. It's about family.
Family, sorta. Okay, just to start off the review, is the main character voiced by the same person who voices Bubsy Bobcat?
Oh, the main kid?
Yes.
I don't know.
Kind of sounds like Bubsy Bobcat.
A little bit. I
don't
definitely
know.
get what you mean.
And then, of course, the opposite lead girl is voiced by none other than the voice of Lisa Simpson.
Yeardley Smith.
That's correct.
This cast, first of all, let's take a look at this.
John Goodman.
John Goodman. You got Charles Fleischer, none other than Roger Rabbit himself. You got Jay Leno. Weirdly, not really in the movie at all. Walter Cronkite. You got Julia Child. You got Yeardley Smith. You got Martin Short. You have Rhea Perlman. And then you have Larry King as himself for like 2 seconds. I mean, that's a pretty incredible cast of wow, those are a lot of iconic voices.
Okay, so are we just going to launch full spoilers since this is an old movie?
Oh, yeah, let's go ahead.
All right, so when did this come out again?
This came out in 1993. So it's as old as
93? Mm-hmm. Really? I thought it came out a little later.
93.
Okay, so 93. This is not... Who released this particular feature?
This was an Amblimation picture.
Oh, okay,
so this was made by Steven Spielberg.
Stevie Spiels and co.
Very short-lived production company, animation company. They did An American Tale, Fievel Goes West.
Oh, okay.
So the sequel. They did We're Back, and then they also did Balto.
Whoa, dude. Okay, Balto is 3,000 times better than both of those.
Yeah, that was the one that stuck out where I'm like, wow. That was their last movie, was Balto.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck?
So, similar... it's funny you mentioned American Tail, Fievel Goes West, because I kind of felt like this one reminded me a lot of the first Fievel movie. Is it just called... What the hell is it called? Just American...
I think it's just American Tail.
American Tail. I'm like, this is kind of boring. The songs are bad. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, this is just it's second rate in a lot of ways.
Yeah, definitely primarily in a story sense.
Okay, yeah, speaking of story, the very, very beginning, what the hell is going on?
Oh, man. So
the audio is kind of recorded weird. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, oh, man.
It sounds like the people are mumbling or something.
It's mumbling, but it sounds like they recorded it in a living room.
No, you know what it also sounds like? It sounds like they animated it first.
Yeah.
And then they're rushing to say their lines, trying to keep up with the mouth.
So I saw this movie probably a few years after it came out, and I remember really, really liking it. Saw it on TV, and I remember being really taken with it, particularly the end, because it kind of freaked me out, but I was like, I kind of like this. This is a different twist that I haven't seen in animated movies before.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen it since. So I remember having very fond memories of it. And I'll say this. I like it. I will not concede it's a good movie at all. It's not a good movie. But I like it.
Well, this one skipped by me. Mm-hmm. Though it was it had many ads in many comics of mine.
Yes.
That's the thing is that's how I this and Cool World are two movies where I'm like, oh yeah, that's that movie that was in a bunch of old ads in some of my old comic books.
Right.
That's what this was to me for many years. And I finally decided to check it out. Mm-hmm. Because, I like to go after some of those, like, little blind spots, especially in animation that I missed. Mm-hmm. And some are worth it and others aren't.
Others are we're back.
Yeah, like, I cannot tell you, like...
What the hell's going on? Aliens?
I hated this movie. I thought it sucked so badly.
Oh, man.
Okay, let's start from scene 1. The mumbly, weird little kid bird is, like, fighting with his other bird brothers.
Yeah.
And he flies down, and there's a dinosaur.
Playing golf,
and I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's like, let me tell you a very confusing and pointless story. Aliens are coming to Jurassic period of Earth.
But they're sort of not aliens because it's Walter Cronkite and he's a human. And he's got this thing called Brain Grain. It's a cereal that turns Rex, who was a T-Rex at the time, like an actual like dinosaur, turns him smart. He turns him into an anthropomorphic dinosaur.
Okay, so then let's keep the timeline simple here.
Yeah.
So we have the present. Then they go back to the way back. Mm-hmm. But then they go back to what looks like the present.
Yeah, they go back. They go into the future. They like zoom out of the world and like they basically time travel because Dr. New Eyes, I think is his name.
Yeah.
He wants to make children feel good because all of them are wishing that dinosaurs, real dinosaurs, that
which
they
is
exist.
Just like, I mean, I get
the fuck.
It's like, didn't another movie come out in 93 that specifically stated why not to bring back dinosaurs?
Yeah. Wow, what a fucking opening. I was cracking up. I'm like, this is so bad.
I was not having a good time. I'm like, where is this going? And then within 10 minutes, what we've just explained right now is so disjointed. Mm-hmm. And then once it's like, oh, the dinosaurs are gonna meet this kid.
Yeah.
And they have to stop the bad guy. I'm like, ugh, okay, fine. At least I can deal with this.
It's focused.
Yeah.
I'll at least say that. Yeah.
And the only sequence that really works for me at all is some of the parade. But then the song sucks, and I'm like, I'm out. I'm back out again.
I thought that, and like, there's the whole chase between like them and the cops, where I'm like, this is fun. Like, even as an adult, I was like, this is like, and that's another thing I'll say is like, I think we sort of disagreed. Like, I wouldn't say overall the animation's good, but there are parts of the movie that look really fucking good. Like that scene where they're like on the Hudson River and like the reflection and shit. Yeah. I'm like, holy shit, this looks good. And that's what's so frustrating about it. Is there's a lot of other scenes where you're like, what the fuck is this?
I would say the most frustrating thing is like, what a waste of good character designs.
Right.
Rex looks good. The other 3 nameless, personality-less characters look good.
Right.
What's that thing you were telling me about? Like ham sandwiches? Where it's like if a character can be replaced by a ham sandwich, they're not necessary.
Exactly.
All 3 of the other dinosaurs are ham sandwiches. I don't remember their names.
It could have just been Rex.
Yeah.
They didn't really need to be there.
Could have been Rex. Probably would have been cheaper.
Right. But
and then it's like, I don't know. It's just like, so the kid, and then there's like, hey, other kid, want to come with me on an adventure? It's like, well, my parents are neglectful. I guess so.
Oh, man. It's just so unfocused and like, you know what it feels like? And this is kind of what I find endearing about it is it's like, this feels like a story that a 4-year-old would tell you. You know what I mean? It's like, this feels like a story that was written by a 4-year-old.
It's like, and then the dinosaurs go with the aliens, and then the aliens go back to now, and then it's the Macy's Day Parade.
Right. And it's like, I kind of, like, if that's what they're going for, like, if this is supposed to be taken seriously, oh man, does it not work. But if it's supposed to be like, yeah, this is like a story that, like, a kid would write, I'm like, yeah, it is. It is. And it's whatever. Like, it's not good, but it's like, there's stuff in it.
It really shouldn't take much for animation to be passable. Mm-hmm. Because, like, the one thing animation has an advantage of is you can kind of ooh and ah at the work itself just because it's animated.
Right.
And most movies, obviously, that get that kind of... Any theatrical animation is at least going to look pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. I'd be kind of hard-pressed to find one that looked not great. Like, I would say Wizards.
Wizards.
It's one of Ralph Bakshi's earlier movies.
Are we talking 2D?
Yeah, but like he like mixes in like real picture backgrounds. It's like, wow, he cheaped out. But the weird thing is, it's like it's also not bad considering how low budget it was. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. It's like animation has that advantage where like you can at least kind of marvel at the fact that it's animated.
Right, right.
So I don't remember the fuck I was going with this, but
there are moments in this movie that look really good. Like
okay, now I remember what I was gonna say. It was like, so therefore, animation is just have a passable story,
right?
And then you're pretty much golden.
This movie kind of doesn't.
No, it's like you're taking away my ability to overlook things because it's like a kid's movie. It's like this story is just so goddamn stupid.
Oh yeah, it's really like just kind of.
It's like the kids. Why are all these? It's like all the kids are wishing for dinosaurs.
Yeah, I was like, what? I wish dinosaurs were real. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Was that a thing back in the 90s? Oh wait, no, I was there. It wasn't.
And it's like, what's her name's like? I wish I had a friend.
Yeah.
She takes a liking to Louie like way too quickly
and way too intensely.
Yeah, it's like weird. And yeah. Louie's just like, nah, piss off. And she's like, you're so funny.
Yeah. You want to know who wrote this movie?
Do tell.
So this is based on a children's book.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what the translation is there. But this movie is written by John Patrick Shanley.
Who is?
The screenwriter of Moonstruck and Doubt.
Really?
Yeah. See, he's also he wrote the Play It Out.
Okay.
So, what the hell? Isn't that fucking weird?
Huh. That is very odd.
Yeah.
Was he the sole credit?
Sole screenwriting credit.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I don't really see a whole lot of anything from him in this. This just kind of feels like, and I haven't read the storybook, but it feels very childish, and there's not much in it that's food for thought.
Also, the bad guy sucks.
Oh, he used to freak me out when I was a kid.
What was his deal? He's just like, I want everyone to think everything sucks.
Yeah. What was the?
Hold on. We forgot the other element of like nonsensicalness or nonsense.
The kids turn into monkeys.
Well, I forgot about that. Yeah, there's that. There's that he wants to run away and join the circus. And
yeah.
There's a lot of shit that's going on that makes no sense.
Yeah, there's some wackiness in this.
So like they get to the circus and then the bad guy turns them into monkeys or whatever.
Yeah. But then they turn back because the dinosaurs are like, "No, turn them back and we'll eat your pill that'll turn us into
back into like
evil."
Because the brain grain or whatever.
It'll devolve us.
Yeah.
You know, like you know what?
And then the kid's just like, "You're not a monster," and somehow that undoes it.
He cries him back into to humanity.
I can't tell you how much I hate though. Like, I'm willing to forgive that only if it's done right. Mm-hmm. The say the right thing to undo the weird like brainwashing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like Winter Soldier, I thought did a pretty good job of that.
Right.
You know, it's like, because like that actually triggered like a memory in him or something.
Mm-hmm.
But like when they're full blown, like they just ate this thing that makes them apex predator dinosaurs. I love you. It's like,
okay,
yeah. I'm back. You fixed my dinosaur brain.
Yes.
Where like another really bad one is, have you ever seen the Iron Man cartoon from like 2000, like 5 or 6?
The movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good, but then the ending, he's just like, Mei Ling, remember me. Then she's like, huh? Oh, yeah, I guess I remember you. It's all good now.
Yeah. It's...
Like she's under some, like, weird spell shit, and it's like, that's all you had to do is say, Mei Ling, remember me.
Yeah. It's, not great.
No, not at all.
No, but I have I can't divorce myself from the fact that I've got attachment to it.
I was begging for this to be over.
And it's only 72 minutes.
It's 72 minutes, and I was like, I can't handle this. Like, just end. Like, the amount of random bullshit we've just, like, discussed in this movie,
mm-hmm.
It's just how did no one in the story editing room be like, hold on, what if we kept maybe the monkeys in the circus, but got rid of the this or the that? It's like, what? Like, you're not going to cut any of this?
Yeah. Who knows?
Or like the bookended like thing with the bird. Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Let me tell you about a story when I was a dinosaur.
Yeah, that was weird. That took me by surprise. 'Cause I'm like, I don't remember this at all.
Yeah. It was like the beginning of Mrs. Doubtfire, where it's like a cartoon. You're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, he's a
voice
voiceover
acting,
guy.
Yeah.
This was more like, what's going on? And then the aliens show up while in the past with dinosaurs. And you're like, all right, this is making less sense. Can we get an explanation? This is brain drain. I'm like, all right, we're still not really making sense here. It just keeps building off itself to make less and less sense. Mm-hmm. And then eventually it's like, okay, once we got to New York, fine, we're focused. Still don't love it at all. Kind of hate it, but at least it has some through line. And that's like, psych, just kidding. Circuses and turning kids into monkeys. I'm out of things to say. This movie sucks. It was not good.
Yeah,
I gotta say, I was disappointed.
I'm out of things to say too.
All right, so scores.
Okay, I'd give it a 6.
Oh, too generous.
Well, I mean, I'm not grading it academically. I'm just saying my feelings towards it. It's a 6.
6.
I got attachment towards it. It's not good.
Oh, I hated it. I'm gonna go 1.5 out of 5.
Yeah,
I'm giving that generous 0.5 just because character designs. Ah, man. So yeah, there you have it. 1.5 and a 3 out of 5.
Moving on to our next review, we're going to talk about, I guess you could say it's the other Thanksgiving movie.
Yes, it's not We're Back. It is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yes, the John Hughes 1987 comedy film starring Steve Martin, John Candy. Well, what's your history with this movie?
It's weird because I've seen this maybe a dozen times, but it's been forever. It's been at least over 10 years since I'd watched this from start to finish. Mm-hmm. And to me, I always remember it being like, wow, this is like the only Thanksgiving movie, and that kind of stood out. And obviously, John Hughes.
Yeah.
He's the man. Or he was the man. He had a bunch of classic hits, and this is, I would say, one of his top movies.
Yeah, I would say it is his top movie.
You'd say it's his best. That's your hot take on this, huh?
A little bit. Of the ones I've seen, which are 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller, and Uncle Buck, so pretty much the ones that matter. I haven't seen Weird Science. That's the only other one that I haven't seen of his that I have intentions of seeing.
It's been a long time since I've seen Weird Science. I might be remembering this wrong. It feels like the least John Hughesy of his movies.
Yeah, it's
good though.
It's very goony from what I've heard. But yeah, this is a movie that I just never. I'd probably seen the first 20, or I probably had seen the first 20 minutes of this movie 5 or 6 times, like on TV. I never really sat down and watched it for the first time ever until now.
Okay, so let's get started. So off the bat, you've got 2 characters that are pretty. You get their deal pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You know what the thing is though about Steve Martin's character? Why I like this movie is it's a movie about gray area characters. Because Del is obviously he's supposed to be super annoying, but there's like this movie, it understands like the difference between like someone who means well and someone who's just a bad person. Like and that's the same thing with Steve Martin. There's like some people are a little bit cranky, but like that doesn't mean they have no humanity.
Right.
Because like I love the very, very first scene of this where it's just silent. He's just sitting in the advertising executive's office. He's like, Jesus, can we move this along?
Right. I've got to go.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you can level with him and you don't think he's being unreasonable.
Right.
It takes a while for you to see like his sort of nasty side. And that's, of course, when Del comes along.
Good old Del Griffith, played brilliantly by John Candy. I think that John Candy was John Hughes' muse.
Yeah.
The Hughes muse, if you will. I think
he was the real MVP.
He was, and I already said that I think it's the best movie that John Hughes has made. But I'm going to tell you why. So, here's the thing. I've mentioned this to you before. I think that movies like Ferris Bueller, 16 Candles, what's the other one? Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Movies about school in particular in the 80s, they're good movies, and they're good little time capsules. But I don't think, and I'm going to use a phrase that you don't like, I don't think they age very well. And by that, I don't just mean like, oh, there was a joke that wouldn't fly today, or like there's a thing that's like...
That reference isn't like that's dated or whatever. Yeah.
It's not just that. It's that there are aspects of all those movies that just... Like if you were to show The Breakfast Club to a 14-year-old today, I don't know if they would really get it.
He'd be like, bro, where's the trap music?
Well, or like, what about the phones and shit? Because there are huge elements of what school is like now that are just not a part of those movies. And like the part where like Anthony Michael Hall talks about how he brought a gun to school and like wanted to kill himself. It's like that fucking part like would have a huge connotation only a few years later.
Yeah.
So like my point is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is timeless. This movie doesn't age because this shit still happens. There's nothing about it that's dated.
Yeah.
Like, people still commute. People still have to deal with shitty people. Like, yeah, they don't have cell phones and there's no Uber, but that's not what the movie's about. Like, Breakfast Club is about school.
Actually, it kind of is.
Well, yeah, but it's
I was actually going to say an Uber would probably solve this movie almost immediately.
Well, it's like shitty weather, though. I don't know if those would operate. And also, I don't know how Uber operates across state lines, or I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he could have taken one to an airport that was working.
But that's a small thing. That's not like there's an entire facet of school life today that is not represented in, 3 of the most influential school movies of all time, according to, a lot of people who grew up with it. Not saying they're bad, but they're more dated.
Yeah, I guess, but it's like by that same argument where you're saying, well, this is the movie's about family and traveling and whatever. It's like, well, you could say Breakfast Club's about like cliques and, how you fit in.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's about like the pressures of school and all of that, but like, I don't know if you could talk about the pressures of school nowadays without talking about the social media element of how students interact. There are certain things where if you were to show a 14-year-old Breakfast Club, I feel like they would be way more into Planes, Trains, and Automobiles because they're like, yeah, I understand that traveling's hard during the holidays. Like, that's something that's never changed. You know what I mean?
High school is hard. That's not going to change.
But the reasons why change.
Fine.
The reasons why commuting sucks are still the same. Weather gets shitty during this time of year and people are traveling.
You could say the same about high school. It's like kids are dicks to each other.
Yeah, but it's
just like the mode in which you travel the modes in which you travel have changed. The modes in which you're a jerk to people have changed.
Well, there's still Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yes, there are.
I don't know. I just feel like
whatever. Okay,
this age is the best out of any John Hughes movie. There's nothing in this where I'm like, I don't know how that would fly today, or I don't know how that would transfer to a person nowadays. It's just like there isn't anything. Everything is fine. Like, this is a timeless idea. Like, how to not be shitty to people. It's like, this is like anybody can get behind this and at any point. You know?
I think that the perfect moment that kind of sums up everything this movie's about.
Oh yeah.
It's actually a lot earlier on than I remember.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's in
like Act 1.
Yeah, it's like the end of Act 1 is when John Hughes just lets him have it with that you want to hurt me monologue.
Oh man, it is just
every line of it is completely perfect.
I honestly think that like just for that scene alone, like John Candy should have got a fucking Oscar nod. Like the dude is just he's fucking awesome. He's first of all, he's a comedic like master of his craft, but man, that scene is just like wow, way to just make everybody, not only Neil Page, but like way to just make every human being that's watching this feel like dog shit. It's great. And to see them as two human beings grow, like, and just be friends with each other by the end of the movie, spoilers.
Yeah. Well, we're just doing full spoilers.
Yeah. that's, I mean, damn it. And like the revelation that his wife's dead, which is a little, like you can see that coming, but God damn it, that's what Thanksgiving's all about.
But that doesn't make it any less like sad or whatever.
Yeah, man.
Well, because they do it like little by little. Mm-hmm. At first, you meet him and he's just kind of annoying,
right?
And you're like, oh, he's talking about his wife or like whatever. Who cares? And then little by little, it's like I haven't been home in years.
Yeah.
Well, they basically they pretty much spell that out for you in the montage.
To give you the clip show.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, stupid.
Just in case you're a complete dumbass, we're gonna spell this out for you.
And they got the fucking music going. It's like, that's like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah, man. You know what? You're right, though. It's amazing how the characters, they both go through an arc.
Yeah, they both change for the better.
Well, and I think that's part of it's like, or what's his name? Sorry, Del. Mm-hmm. He's the way he is as a defense mechanism.
Yeah, he's this bubbly guy who's just always being a goof and making mistakes unbeknownst to him.
Yeah,
and this is a comedy first and foremost.
Right.
Let's talk about how goddamn funny this movie is.
Yeah.
I just like to say the whole automobile sequence where they're driving on the highway, like, I'd never seen that fully. What gotta be for me like one of the most carefully and expertly constructed scenes of comedic genius ever. Like from the opening, like
talking about like you're going the wrong way.
From there all the way to like the end where the car starts on fire. Like this is just brilliant. Like it's so fucking funny. Like how could they know where we're going? God damn it. It's really funny. It's like a perfect exercise in like dramatic irony and like, no, idiot, you are going the wrong way. Like, and the car starts on fire and his wallet's in there and you're like, this is just a comedy of errors in the best fucking way. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like good writing. It's like you build things off of one another. Right. And it really builds to something hilarious.
Yeah, it's not just like it's not like the long walk off a short pier, you know. They give you like each scene has like mini punchlines before you get to the big one.
Right.
I think John Hughes is kind of a master at that.
He is.
Especially in his writing.
Yeah, and I think that this for me is like the one that, I don't know, like I thought his other movies are really, a lot of them are funny. Like I would say of his other ones, like I would say 16 Candles and Ferris Bueller are the funnier ones, because obviously Breakfast Club is like a little bit more serious sometimes. This, for me, I was like, I don't know why, like, every joke is hitting me kind of equally. I'm like, this is just funny, period. Like, every joke.
I think it's just because we all know someone like that.
Oh, yeah.
Or we all know someone like both of them.
Oh, yeah. For sure, both of them.
And it's just like, I mean, this is done to death with buddy movies. It's like, how would these guys ever get hooked up, you know?
Yeah.
But happenstance and crappy weather just, you know... It's like, all right, now we've got a reason. Mm-hmm. And there was the whole thing, like, I tried calling all hotels, like, I tried to tell you.
Yeah, and like the bullshit that happens, like they get robbed, or like, the what is it? He takes his car because his card gets swapped with him, you know, like shit like that. Yeah, oh, man, and the parking lot scene with the rental car, legendary scene. We've referenced it here.
Yeah,
there's just so many iconic moments in this where you're like, oh, this part, you know, and.
Also, during that highway chase, I just want to point one thing out. There's some shades of Home Alone in there.
There's skeletons.
Yeah. There's also a devil. I'm like, so that's where this weird infatuation with having a movie that's mostly realistic for the first two acts and then randomly throwing in shit that's like almost cartoonish came from. Also, it's like, it's almost Three Stooges-esque.
Yeah.
In terms of cleverness. You're going the wrong way. How could he know where we're going?
Right.
That's just funny.
He's singing the fucking singing Mess Around.
Yeah.
And it's just like his seatbelt, the scene where his seatbelt gets caught and his both of his arms get caught. It's great. You know what the thing is about his slapstick that's so much better? It's super realistic. Yes. It's not like, I hate the slapstick where it's like, oh, I'm going to fall down and wail my arms when I fall. It's like, no, just fall. Yeah, Like there's an art to slapstick. It has to feel like, God damn it, I got my arm trapped. It's like, it's really stuck. Yeah, no, and it's like... It's not like, oh, I'm going to like over-exaggerate my motions. Right. And the effect is like, you're simultaneously, as if you were like stressed out and laughing.
Yes.
You're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because that scene, I'm like, just get your fucking arm out.
Right.
Just take it out of your coat.
Oh, man.
God. Man, that's good stuff. Also, while on the subject of Home Alone, we got some Home Alone alums in this.
We do.
We got the cop at the police station on the phone.
We do.
He plays the Wichita cab driver.
Yeah. We also got the one. I don't even know what to describe him as. The one airport.
Oh, I know who you're.
Guy.
She's got a whole box full of them. Dangly ones.
Let's go. Like that guy. I'm like, he's a John Hughes guy.
he's the other snoring guy when Neil's in the middle.
By the way, the guy whose truck they get into. Do you know who that is?
No.
That's Dylan Baker.
Really?
Dylan Baker, Dr. Kurt Connors from fucking... That's fucking him.
No, is it?
That's him. It's a young Dylan Baker.
A young Dylan Baker.
Yeah, he's like the nephew of the one hotel owner guy.
So he really is a supremely top shelf that guy.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Wow.
I mean, we got some other people here, like, beyond just... we got some Ben Stein, another John Hughes alum. Some Kevin Bacon.
Was he the robber, right?
Kevin Bacon?
Yeah.
He was the fucking guy that takes Steve Martin's cab.
Oh, yeah, sorry, that's right. I don't remember who the robber was. I think it was just...
some kid.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's just... Oh, man. I was just kind of overcome. I was like, wow, I feel fucking stupid for not having seen this. You ever watch movies like that?
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck? What am I doing with my life? Why did I wait this long? You know?
So, I mean, even though it wasn't very long, I felt like that with... like Whiplash.
Yeah.
Like, why did I wait to see this?
I had that with Whiplash because I doubted it. Like, I walked into it and I'm like, this movie. And I was like, I'm fucking dumb.
Yeah.
I'm like, this movie's pretty dope.
But back to, Planes, what the fuck is it? It's
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Trains, and Automobiles. Man, titles, not my forte today.
No, that's all good.
Yeah, I mean, I will agree with you to a point that the themes are very strong in this one.
Yeah, no, they're super strong. And, like, I would say for me, like, they were the most powerful, you know, like, that I can recall from any... I mean, they get there for Breakfast Club for me, but, like, this, like, at the end, they got the music swelling, and, like, he goes up and he's like, Del, what are you doing here? And I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah.
God, just take him home, Steve. And, like, at the end, like, with...
Take him home, Neil.
Oh, yeah, take him home, Neil.
Yeah.
Come on. And then he does, and, you know, Del's watching as Steve Martin, Neil, hugs his wife, and they got the... You
know, it's actually one thing I thought that was actually a smart decision of them.
What's that?
To not really have the rest of the family in it that much.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, one thing I feel like a new, like, movie would try to do is, like, make a B story out of it. And I don't mean like a love story. I mean like a sitcom B story.
Right.
Like, oh, the kids are really driving me crazy.
Yeah, they just have like a small
it's just like a
moment.
Enough. No, they have a couple of them like interspersed.
When's Dad gonna be home?
Yeah. It's just like that's enough.
Yeah.
We don't need we don't need a lot of this. And I thought that was a smart decision to make sure that it was almost entirely focused on Neil and Del.
Yeah. Why doesn't he give me noogies?
Yeah.
What does he say? I prefer noogies.
Yeah. Oh, it's like noogies or Indian burns or whatever.
Yeah. I prefer noogies.
One less wholesome way to interpret the ending. So Del. Well,
oh, God. He's finally infiltrated his way into the family.
That's his second one.
Yeah.
My version is, isn't that nice? He has his wife.
Yeah, and I don't. My wife is dead.
Just goes fucking crazy.
Oh, man. And that's why they did the freeze frame.
Yeah.
Because that was the moment. That was the moment before.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles 2. Del's Revenge. he's like talking to like a fucking like a wicker doll version of his wife. Oh, Marie, I'll get them for you.
What a career on John Candy, by the way.
Yeah.
Got some cool runnings.
The fact that this role is I would say it's a close it's it's tied for first with me for Gus Zielinski, the Polka King of the Midwest.
Yeah, I would say me too. I mean, I wish Gus Zielinski was in it more in Home Alone, you know?
Yeah.
He's in it enough, but not enough. You know, at the same time, you're like, come on, man. But he had a wild career, man. Stripes, Splash, Cool Runnings, Home Alone, Great Outdoors. Great Outdoors is guilty pleasure. It's not very good.
No, it's not very good at all.
No, but there's a couple good. I like the bald-headed bear. As a Bears fan, I like that was referenced. In what do you call it? They always show that scene at Soldier Field.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's in like fucking. He was Uncle Buck, which is we'll get to that later. Well, not later. That's another review for another time, is what I mean. But then, of course, this. And what do you think John Candy would be doing now if he was still around?
How the hell should I know?
Do you think he'd be doing like comedy still, or do you think he'd go like the who's like a comedian that like turned like more serious? Do you think he'd go more serious roles?
I don't know.
It's interesting. I always think about that with like Chris Farley and John Belushi too. Like, where the fuck would they be now?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Probably, I would say making both.
Yeah, I think it's possible. Would they go the Adam Sandler route?
Yeah, well, because he did both.
Yeah, he's still doing both. Shit. But yeah, this is that movie that's you're like, God damn it! Why is this guy gone?
Yeah, that's true. Here's one minor nitpick. This is just kind of being annoying. Mm-hmm. There's a part where they're like an hour away at most, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we better stop for the night."
Yeah,
I'm like, "Come on!"
Right.
Of course, that's just I'm just being difficult, but obviously that doesn't affect the score. So I think this is a pretty obvious score for both of us.
Yeah, it's a perfect score.
Yeah, this is probably. Maybe people just haven't done a Thanksgiving movie because they're like, why? It's just, we're not going to make something as good.
Yeah, I mean, it's that, and I would even argue it's like amongst the best, I mean, it's the best Thanksgiving movie without even a fucking equal. It's, I would say, one of the best road movies ever, one of the best buddy movies ever. Like, it's so many different things, like, and I feel like saying it's a Thanksgiving movie, it's like, yeah, but also it's just fucking really good overall. Like,
well, it's weird because it's not really a Thanksgiving movie when you think about it.
Right.
Because it's about getting home for Thanksgiving.
Right. It's a pre-Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like that. You might as well just be like, it's the best day before Flag Day movie ever. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Is it good or not?
No, I get what you're saying.
But it sure is though the best Thanksgiving movie ever, and I will agree. It is better than We're Back.
Much better.
Yes.
So that's, I guess that's our review. That's 2 fivs out of fivs from us for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. If you haven't minded us ruining basically the entire movie by pretty much giving you the entire synopsis rundown, you should check it out if you haven't seen it.
Did you know that John Candy's character's wife is dead?
But she'll be back in 2. In one way or another. And now we move on to a discussion portion, and of course we'll be talking about Stan Lee. We're basically just going to celebrate his creations and what he did for Marvel and for comics and for pop culture in general by just discussing our favorite moments and characters and all that stuff. So you're going to start us off with a little bio.
I sure will, and this comes courtesy of biography.com. It's an abridged version, but still, I thank them for their info. Stan Lee was born Stanley Martin Lieber on December 28, 1922 in New York City. The firstborn son of Jewish-Hungarian immigrants, he attended high school in the Bronx and held a variety of jobs, including writing obituaries for a news service. After graduating early at the age of 16, Lieber landed a job as an assistant at the Timely Comics division of a company, headed back by Martin Goodman, the publisher. There he found himself working alongside the likes of Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, the creators of Captain America, and 2 of the most important figures during the so-called golden age of comics, in fact. Lieber's first published contribution at Timely would be a small text piece in a 1941 issue of Captain America, for which he used the pseudonym Stan Lee. And when Simon and Kirby left Timely later that year, Lee was appointed as the interim editor. In the late 1950s, Goodman, who was looking to keep pace with rival comics company DC, assigned Lee the task of creating his own group of superheroes, and the rest is comics history. In '61, Timely was rebranded as Marvel Comics, and that November saw the debut of the Fantastic Four, Lee's first creation in a long string of what would become the most famous and lasting comic book characters, including Spider-Man, the Incredible Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, and the X-Men. When Martin Goodman left Marvel Comics in 1972, Lee became its publisher, and for the next decade, he continued oversight of the creation of new characters and series at the company. And of course, beyond that, he would go on to sell rights to film studios, television companies, and, well, he's the reason why partially the reason why we have this podcast and why we talk about so many comic book movies nowadays, you know?
Yeah. It's kind of like crazy, the list of his creations. So, again, to reiterate some of that. So that's X-Men, which included in its first iteration Iceman, Marvel Girl / Jean Grey, Cyclops, Angel, and Beast. And then Fantastic Four, so Thing, Invisible Woman, Mr. Fantastic, Human Torch, Spider-Man, Black Panther, Thor, Hulk, Ant-Man, Wasp, Iron Man, Daredevil. The list goes on and on. Like, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
It's kind of incredible the amount of influence this guy had on literature of this sort. I mean, it's not just about, like, yeah, he created these characters, but it's also... The reason why it's important is that these characters weren't just... And this was a huge criticism of DC Comics at the time. They weren't just figures. They were human beings, and they had normal shit to do. Peter Parker had to go to school every day, you know? You had the Fantastic Four trying to learn new things about the world. Hulk was just a scientist. You know, like, these were normal people that had that had tremendous things happen to them and were given tremendous abilities that they had to learn how to deal with. And they lived in a real place in New York City, a lot of them.
Right, and, like, the X-Men had to deal with, like, what it's like to be different.
Right, in a time, you know, in that story, taking place in a time where that kind of shit was just relevant. You know?
Like, because that was the thing is, I actually remember watching an interview with him, and he's saying, well, what if they were just born mutants? Mm-hmm. What if they didn't get, you know, hit by gamma radiation or bit by a radioactive spider or whatever? Right. Mm-hmm. They're like, well, what if they're just this way to begin with? Exactly. How would they deal with that?
Yeah, and that's something huge thing.
That's always something that X-Men has really been... I don't know if I'd say it's my absolute favorite comic. It might be. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons for that is the bad guys were gray area.
Right.
Like, there was always, like, a level of understanding in why they did what they did, besides, like, we're just going to take over the world or whatever. Because Magneto's like, well, fuck them. They don't like me. I don't like them.
Yeah.
And Xavier's like, no, let's try and work this out and live in peace.
Yeah, the character creation and characterization for him was chiefly the reason why people are revering him the way they are. You know, Spider-Man for me is going to be, you know, that's going to go down as the thing that I will always, always remember Stan Lee for, because as a kid, you know, growing up, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, Spider-Man, I identify with him. Like, he was just a kid going to school. You know, he was a nerdy kid. He wasn't a fat ass, but that's beside the point. But he was, you know, he was a geeky kid going to school, and he had some tremendous abilities. And, you know, that to me really, really resonated with me. And I was like, wow, this is a real comic made for me.
And you know what's something worth noting is the very first issue, it ends with the very first Amazing Fantasy 15, so the first appearance of Spider-Man. It ends with Uncle Ben getting killed and him going after the killer.
Right, dark.
Yeah, it's kind of like shitty, but it's like he learns a lesson.
And I mean, geez, you want to go.
And then it gets fun immediately in the next issue, though. Then he meets the Fantastic Four.
Chameleon's there.
Yeah.
I mean,
that rascal. That's so weird too. Is like something that always blows my mind about that is
what's that?
You know, when you just assume certain things when you're younger, like, oh yeah, obviously the first issue probably had Green Goblin or something. It's like, what, Chameleon?
Yeah,
that was the first villain.
Yep.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you think about a lot of the influence that his Spider-Man run had, like talking about like the death of Gwen Stacy and how like the impact that comic had on comics.
Yeah.
It was huge deal. So, and you know what else is weird is that we were just talking about, not even, 6 months ago, we were talking about the death of Spider-Man co-creator Steven Ditko.
Yeah.
And it's only fitting, that these two guys who were so instrumental in so many people's lives in crafting one of the most recognizable and indelible fictional characters of all time, that they pass on and that they are remembered in such short frequency of one another,
Yeah, that is kind of strange.
Yeah, it's Doctor Strange, you could say.
Yeah. I think in addition to Spider-Man being human, I feel like even comics that used to not lean on that so heavily, I feel like Spider-Man kind of reinvigorated the comic industry and a lot of its writers to take that as part of their stories that maybe it wasn't there before.
Mm-hmm.
Like with early Superman, yeah, he's like a reporter, but they make him much more human from really like the 70s on.
And one of my favorite takes,
Superman's whole thing is, in a lot of ways, he mirrors Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because he has to take on so much responsibility, but he also works at a paper. But it's also like he has like his journalism struggles. Like he can't just punch his way through that.
One of my favorite takes on Superman, Man of Steel, which I would say humanizes Superman and Clark Kent the most, I would say that's directly as a result of what Stan Lee did for comics in the 60s or throughout the 20th century. It's incredible what he did for humanizing beings that we kind of looked up to as like, wow, these are people that are bigger than us, they're better than us. It's like they're not. They have abilities, but they're people.
Yeah. And I think one of the issues that I have open in this Essentials volume,
right?
It's issue number 12. Mm-hmm. Unmasked by Dr. Octopus.
Yeah.
What I think is so interesting about that is this is Spider-Man to me is the number one example. Like no comic has done this better, and no movie series has done this better. Oh shit! What if someone finds out my identity?
Yeah, yeah.
What a problem that would be
for MJ, for Aunt May.
And the whole thing is because then they'll find who I like, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, and J. Jonah Jameson, my boss, who hates Spider-Man, will find out. And
I almost like how it seems almost farcical how Aunt May's like, I saw that you were trying to impersonate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Don't do that again. I'm like, oh, 60s comics.
Right.
It's just anything to talk your way out of plot holes. But that was part of the fun. I think it was cheeky, but that issue always stuck with me as a kid because I'm like, wow, that's something because I never thought about that. What if someone does find out?
Right. What would happen?
And that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of comics. I like Golden Age comics, but there's something that Stan Lee brought in the Silver Age that changed the face.
Yeah.
The idea of incorporating slices of real life into your comics.
It added
X-Men being a chief example of that.
It added a life behind the face.
And what I liked about X-Men, it's it made you think after the fact. They gave you an entertaining story, and you're like, oh yeah, I guess that social message also, in addition to it being a good comic, it's wow, that's a poignant observation.
Right.
And it's kind of like having your cake and eating it too.
Exactly.
Whereas I feel like a lot of things now, they focus on the message almost entirely too much.
Mm-hmm. And not the story.
Yeah. I would say that's been the problem with some of the later South Park episodes. Mm-hmm. Is they'll be so invested in what are we parodying instead of but how are we going to make a story out of what we're parodying?
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. And his mark on comics is what's good about it is it's not just it's not like when Bill Finger passes or Steve Ditko, where you're this is a guy that's going to pass away that had a real big mark on comics, but no one's really going to know who they are. Normies, quote unquote, aren't going to know. That's the thing that with Stan Lee is man, when he passes, everybody knows because he's such an important part of just comics. Every normal people, and that's maybe due to the fact that it's recent, but it's still the case.
I think that's just the fact that not only did he have so much quality, but it's the sheer quantity of characters. Have you ever looked at the list? The full list of all the characters he made? Mm-hmm. It's insane. So, is there something you'd like to say involving this comic in front of you?
One of my favorite things that Stan Lee used to do back in the day was So he used to have this thing called Stan's Soapbox, which was like
Right.
where he'd talk about issues. But he also used to do this thing where he would just, at the end of every issue, he would kind of like wrap up and like he would throw a couple Stan Lee-isms in there.
Yeah.
And he would just like get you psyched for the next issue.
Yeah.
So like there's just a couple excerpts like it says, "Tell us the truth now, admit it. Have you ever seen any other costume superhero whose aunt had him on the carpet because he stayed out too late fighting sinister archvillains? Of course not. But with old Spidey, this is just the beginning of all the surprises in store for you. So we want all you web spinners to be here next-ish, which I loved. He'd always call him Ish.
Yeah.
Until then, face front. That was another thing he always used to say. He'd say, face front, true believers.
Yeah.
And like, God, he had so many things where he'd say, like,
I think
like the nuff said, like, nuff said.
nuff
where I'm
said.
like, God damn it.
I think
Excelsior.
that just came from, like, he just had such a passion for this. And I know that seems almost like a foregone conclusion because, yeah, of course, anyone who does this should have passion for it.
Right.
But I think he was just so into promoting it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's another thing that made him stand out. Because, again, there's that connection from creator to fan in a way. Because he, like, even if he's not talking to you directly, and a lot of times he did through answering fan mail.
Yeah. He was like the Don King of comics.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's the connection to the fans was paramount in Stan Lee's career. And it always has been, literally until the day he died. Like, even until this year, he was still showing up at cons, doing fan meetups and such. It's shocking that he had it in him. And he was, how old was he? 95?
95.
That's an insane age.
Was there another point you wanted to make?
I think so, but I don't know if this was it. I think I might have.
Was it the same thing? Was it just...
Oh, you know what it was? Here I have it right here.
Yeah.
Here's another. It's just another excerpt.
Yeah.
It's like, and as the shades of night blanket the silent city, we leave you with this thought. Isn't there just a little Peter Parker in all of us? It's like, God damn you, Stan, you fucking softy.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, but that's the thing, is he wanted to... Well, I mean, is that not, like, directly asking, like, do you feel a connection?
Oh, yeah, and it's like, fuck yeah, of course I do, Stan. Yes, sir. You know? That was another thing I didn't know, is he served in the military. Can you believe that?
Yeah. What did he do again?
He was, let me see. He entered the U.S. Army in early 42 and served within the U.S. as a member of the Signal Corps, repairing telegraph poles and other communications equipment. So he wasn't, deployed or like on the front lines, but like he was part of that fight, man. He's essentially a veteran. He was part of the fight, and the guy had an incredible life, and I really, really have the utmost respect for everything he's done, especially with where we're at now.
Yeah.
With how the state of cinema has just changed almost irreparably because of Stan Lee.
That's kind of like, you know what I was thinking about the other day? Think about this. The X-Men animated series, X-Men Evolution, the Hulk cartoon from the 90s, the Hulk TV show live action from the 70s, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the X-Men movies,
everything Spider-Man
movies, the various Spider-Man animated series. That Spider-Man theme I covered.
Yeah.
Let's see. Pretty much like 9/10 of like the Marvel Legends game.
Yeah. Marvel Ultimate Alliance, the game.
Ultimate Alliance, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Or
I was
Marvel
thinking of
vs. Capcom.
X-Men Legends.
Yeah. Well, X-Men Legends. Both X-Men Legends is...
There's so many things we've just named that are all tangentially related to Stan Lee.
Yeah, the X-Men franchise for Fox,
And even though he didn't create Captain America, I think there's something I'd like to point out. He was the figure who relaunched Captain America into his popularity to what he is now.
Yeah.
Because he wrote what was called Tales of Suspense, which I'm holding right here. And the way it used to work is it was split with Iron Man. So it'd be half the issue was, it was like 10 pages or whatever of Iron Man and 10 pages of Captain America.
Right.
And little do people know, he was the writer. And he wrote Captain America for a long time. So even if you're talking about who he created, that list is long enough. Who he wrote for, that's he basically wrote for everyone at the time.
Right.
There's a couple classic Captain America things in this volume that I have here. Let's see.
Do tell.
Well, let's see. What do we? Oh, there's an old issue called. Let's see. It was Tales of Suspense number 62, and in this issue, it's a perfect example of Cap's old-timey acrobatic pugilism. And as you know, I'm a good fan of. I'm a big fan of fisticuffs.
Yes. Whether
it be in real life in the octagon or in a cell block in a fictional world that Captain America's got to go to. And there's just like there's so many pages in here where it's just like he's just fighting like 8 guys at once.
Right.
Like I don't think Captain America can be bested when it comes to who has panels where he's just like hitting everybody with every limb. Like look at this. There's just a shot here of him just like ramming a dude in the shield, like kicking another guy in the face while he's ramming the other dude in the shield and like knocking over 4 people in the process.
Looks like he's crowd surfing.
Yeah. And then he's got some weird shit going on. He's doing like a Matrix duck.
Yeah.
Like straight up, like bending backwards.
God. Yeah, man.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like the way these were done, man. I mean, I think it's also like he just found people he worked tremendously with.
Yeah.
Jack Kirby, like, because he's the star of the pages I was talking about. But hey, Stan Lee's right along with him.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just Stan Lee really, really reinvented Captain America.
He sure did.
That to me is like a true talent, that he could create so much, but also work with something that he didn't create, but make, sort of re-energize the character in his stories.
Yeah, and with respect to the original creation, too.
Exactly. Because there's a lot of flashback issues, a lot of that stuff, and there's one particular thing that I always liked. It was the sleeper.
Yeah, yeah.
As much as I like a good throwing of hands, sometimes you need to mix it up with some robots and stuff.
Right.
So we've got the sleeper, and it was this gigantic, World War II like Nazi robot that he fought. It's always a good time.
Right.
And I always loved those issues because it's like Captain America's like, well, if I can punch it, I can beat the shit out of it.
Right.
Like problem solved. It's
exactly.
Like, well, how the hell am I going to take this out?
Yeah.
You had to do a little thinking.
Right.
And like he wasn't a genius like scientist. He was just, Captain America was just like a guy who's just like, well, golly, gosh darn, all I got to do what's right. He was just a dork with a heart of gold.
Right.
And in those situations, he really had to fucking go out of his way to think how he's going to solve this. He's like, fuck, if I can't punch it, oh, man. Shit, what do I do? It's not like Reed Richards like, well, I'll just invent this thing to take care of it.
Yeah, shoot it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just something I've always liked.
Yeah, man. He was a crafty guy.
All the Batroc battles.
Yeah.
Those are... I can't get enough of those. Like, there's one where... Batroc leaves a bomb. He's like, I'm just going to fight you so you can't get it. And then Captain America gets the best of him. But before he can give the final killing blow, he just runs away. He's like, yeah, fuck it. You got to undo the bomb. It's always a good time.
Oh, yeah.
And they perfectly paid tribute. Is that not exactly what happens, what I just explained in Winter Soldier almost?
Oh, yeah, with Batroc.
Yeah, it's just like, toodaloo.
Oh, man, it's great. Great fight scene, too.
Well, GSP, man.
Great. But anyway, let's talk about... You want to move on to the cameos?
Yes.
The best cameos. What are your best cameos? Because I have one. I know you've got a few.
Okay, well, Mallrats is up there. Mm-hmm. But I think his best, honestly, it's not in any of the Marvel movies. Mm-hmm. It's, of course... It's not really even a cameo. It's more like a guest starring spot. He has a few lines in The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
When he's, like I especially love when he's, he's just walking around the comic store just putting Marvel comics in front of all the DC comics. Or when he's like, he's not the Hulk, I'm the Hulk. And I just remember as a kid, I was so amused by the fact that it's like, it happened once. Come on, damn it. I was just like, God, what a character.
God.
And then, of course, you broke my Batmobile. Broke it or made it better? And he just, like, jams the thing into it.
I got to say that mine probably happens. If you had asked me before Stan Lee had passed, it probably would have been any number of them. The one from Thor Ragnarok's real fun. I mean, there's a bunch of them. But now that he's passed, I got to say that the one that I like the best is the one from Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
The one where he's in Times Square as Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker is looking up at the ticker news thing that says that Spider-Man's going to get the key to the city, and Stan Lee just walks up and says to Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, "You know, I guess one person really can make a difference. Enough said."
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn it! What a respectful, like, just scene for the man.
Yeah.
Stan the man to be in.
I'd seen a lot of articles and video tributes had used that clip. It's something else.
Yeah, man. And I remember honestly seeing it. Like, I know it's a dark thought, but like as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh man, when Stan Lee passes away, that's gonna be a fucking bummer to watch. And it is, but it's
well, yeah,
it's
and
also
that's exactly what happened.
It's very meaningful too.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, well, isn't that? It's almost like in a weird way he was talking about himself.
Weirdly, yeah. I'm like, this is what Stan Lee's MO was, man, and he did make a difference.
He was also I don't know if I'd say psychic, but he had a premonition.
Yeah.
He had a very interesting premonition. So this is one of my favorite Stan Lee moments. It's not exactly a cameo, but Marvel used to have, I guess they were like direct order kind of VHS tapes, like How to Draws. So I don't know have you seen this one where it's Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? So for those of you playing at home, if you're still with us, they did this thing where they'd have artists and writers and they'd kind of like do sort of games and exercises to create characters, you know, as like semi-instructional videos. So they were creating this character called Overkill, and Stan Lee's just giving him all sorts of shit. I mean, playfully, but he's also not wrong. He's like, this guy Overkill, it's like, he's got all this stuff on. How can he fight crime if it takes him 2 hours to get ready?
Oh, God, it's great.
But then there's this one dynamite moment. And of course, I love that, like, Rob Liefeld and Todd McFarlane, they're like, well, the kids really like the dark stuff right now. Then Stanley's like, And then at the end, he's like, it's almost not joking sounding because it's just so great. He says, you know, you guys have ruined us. We're going into show business. And look where we are.
It's true.
The most dominant movie brand. I would say it is the most dominant movie brand right now.
Yeah, it is.
Easily.
Easily. It's not even close.
Yeah. And, you know, that's all thanks to Stan Lee.
It's all thanks to him.
Yeah. Now we talk about, well, I guess we kind of went through this. I guess it's our favorite Stan Lee issues or runs.
Yeah, I mean, I got to go with Spidey on that for me, just because it was the one I've read probably Stan Lee issues of a lot of different runs of a lot of different characters that he created or didn't, but for me, it will always, like the one I read profusely and like, prolifically, like, God damn it, it was Spidey.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't get enough of it. And I started reading it right around when the Sam Raimi movie started coming out.
Yeah.
It was just a perfect storm of, like, love for that character and Stan Lee's, like, you know, power behind why that character's so good.
You know, it's also something I think Stan Lee doesn't get. I mean, it's not that he doesn't get the credit, it's just sort of like a secondary thought. How good the villains he created are.
Oh, yeah. Especially, like, X-Men and Spidey.
I would say Spidey's, like, the best in terms of, like, villain creation, but I would say,
Someone just cracked me up, because, like, I don't know. What's an animal? Rhino.
Yeah.
Like, vulture.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. But, like, they're good, man. You're like, yeah, the vulture. Or like,
but then there's all that
chameleon.
other stuff about, like, who they are.
Yeah. Craven the Hunter. He's Chameleon's half-brother.
And, like, yeah. And
It's like, what? Okay.
Yeah. Norman Osborn. It's like Green Goblin. It's like,
It's Harry's best pal's dad.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, my God.
No, what a turn of events.
The plot thickens.
Right.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah, but I would agree with you. Spider-Man's, like, it's obviously what I think of most when I think of Stan Lee.
Yeah.
But honestly, also, Captain America's a close second. Or, no, fuck that. I would say it's like...
X-Men?
No, it's hard. Okay. I'm going to call it my three favorite... Actually, fuck it. There's 4 things that I would say are, like, my absolute favorite of Stan Lee's.
Of equal value?
Yes. So the first 50 or so issues, since I have all of them because of these good old-fashioned Marvel Essentials, where they're in black and white, unfortunately, but still, the fun and shenanigans and thrills were still there.
Right.
I'd go Spider-Man, Captain America, X-Men, and Daredevil.
Yeah.
I think people overlook how good Daredevil is, just as a character.
Oh, yeah.
It's because, unlike a lot of the other characters, it's just science stuff. I'm a scientist. It's I have a real fucking job. Mm-hmm. You know?
And I'm disabled.
Yeah, I'm blind.
Right.
It's what a concept. And there's something that I've always thought was really cool about the whole, dramatic tension with Daredevil. It's oh, shit, I have to make him think that I'm not blind. I have to do something, I can't let him know. And I always thought that always added an interesting element, and I really enjoyed the way Stan Lee wrote that. Yeah. And you can see that in the workings of Frank Miller's Daredevil run.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially with, you're right. I definitely see it. I mean, Jesus. He created that character after all.
That's what I'm saying is, there's so many characters where he made them his own, and, people were able to build off of what he had started in a way that they maybe wouldn't have had someone else created the character. Right,
and it's also just what with Stan Lee's creations, the sort of what makes this character different element. It wasn't just the powers. It was what's this character's situation? I mean, we already talked about the humanity, but Matt Murdock's a lawyer and he's blind, or Tony Stark's a major CEO of a company, and
Captain America's a man literally in the wrong time.
Right, and Hulk's a scientist who literally Jekylls and hides out. It's
the Fantastic Four are a family.
Right, and exactly. There's so much there that X-Men is technically a boarding school.
Yeah.
But with extracurricular activities going on.
Aha.
But it wasn't just about all right, this guy's going to be fast. This guy's going to have super strength. This guy's going to have ice powers and blah, blah, blah. It's no, they all got something going on with them besides that.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's at the key of everything he's created.
Yeah.
Black Panther is a king.
Yeah.
Heavy is the head, or whatever the hell that phrase is.
Yeah. They said it in Black Panther at some point, I think.
Heavy's the head that wears the crown, or some shit like that. I don't know. Effect. Yeah. That's one that's I feel Iron Man, Daredevil, and Black Panther, I'm hold on. When people name what he's created, I'm whoa, what about those three?
Right.
Can't leave them out.
Exactly. Yeah, it's going to be a sad world without Stan Lee. It already has been, but I don't know. I'm glad that he was here.
He lived a long life. And
very long.
I think the simplest thing we can say is that we salute him and we thank him for all his uncanny, incredible, invincible,
amazing,
and amazing creations.
Mm-hmm. Excelsior, good sir.
Excelsior. I think I will conclude that saying just a few things. He changed the face of pop culture completely. Mm-hmm. The idea of superheroes and the fact that they're not, it's cool that they're badass and can do all these crazy things, but some of them are human too.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And I guess I'll just say he was a legend. In his words, enough said. He also created Thor. Come on, guys.
Yeah, gotta give Thor, get him some love.
Yeah, I mean, his comics aren't I don't revere them the same way I do Spider-Man and X-Men, but Thor's solid, man.
Oh, yeah.
He's a mainstay. And technically, he didn't create him. The Norse mythology created him.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, Thor. Thor's also pretty rad.
Hold the phone. Stan Lee also co-created Black Widow with Don Rico and Don Heck.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She was in the Tales of Suspense.
Yeah.
Iron Man, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. So, also Black Widow. Supremely underrated character. Really good comics. So, in conclusion, Black Widow.
And a whole host of other things that we didn't mention here, but it's too long. Go check it out yourself.
Indeed, it is a long list, so hats off, Stan Lee. Again.
All right, thank you everybody for listening to this 32nd episode of Bonus Features with Alex and Robert. As always, you can find us at our self-titled social media pages on Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud. That is, of course, Bonus Features with Alex and Robert for all of them.
That's right, and that name again is Mr. Plow. No, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. It's Bonus Features with Alex and Robert.
What the hell are you doing? Just play the Spider-Man theme again.
Oh, okay. Here, let me get the band back in the room. I'll be right back.